everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I thought I would walk you through my favorite neuroscience or neurobiology books that are aimed at non-neuroscientists. However, of course, neuroscientists can read them as well, which is what I'm doing. And there are only 4 books on my list that I want to recommend to you, just because, you know, it's just a starting point, and I thought the first book on my list would be The Brain, The Story of You by David Eagleman. And the reason for this is that it's quite a short book, so you would be able to read it in about a couple of days. I wasn't personally able to put this down. This is a really exciting overview of how the brain functions, how does the brain develop, you know, how a synapse is formed, can the synapses be reformed, what is brain plasticity, and you know, it's a great book as a starting point. It talks about our consciousness, our subconscious, and how does the brain work in general? How does the brain perceive reality? Is this perception accurate enough? And it's just a great book all round. David also talks about the future. Can our bodies be improved? How can it be done? And he also has other books such as Incognito. I haven't read that one yet, but I will, and I can let you know in later videos. This was made into a BBC TV series, so you can watch the Brain series on BBC. However, I haven't watched that yet, but I'm looking forward to maybe tuning into that as well. So yeah, it's a great introduction into the field of neuroscience, and I think it's a great book for lay people out there, and yeah, great starter. 9 out of 10 for this book. Moving on, another great book that is sort of like a detective book about the brain, by Abigail Marsh. It's called The Fear Factor. This book right here is written in Russian, so that's why Russian speakers, if anyone's watching, get this book. It's a great book into the depths of our sort of more ancient brain. How does the fear feeling get formed? What are the brain regions responsible for the feelings of fear, and how can the fear actually explain the differences between people? Why are some people extreme altruists and some people could go on to become psychopaths? So Abigail Marsh did amazing research, and this book has more than 10 years of research sort of condensed into this really exciting book to read. And Abigail Marsh in this book also talks about why mothers care for their children, what is the ancient sort of mechanism for this, talking from a neurobiology point of view. And it's just a very exciting book to read altogether. 9 out of 10 from me. Highly recommend The Fear Factor. Moving on, I thought I would include not necessarily a book, but rather an encyclopedia called The Brain by Rita Carter. And this encyclopedia is such a beautiful illustration guide to the brain. Different parts of the brain, different structures. How do we perceive sensations? How is the memory formed? What are the diseases that could arise within the brain? How do we age? And it's just such lovely encyclopedia altogether, because it has those amazing 3D illustrations. It's just incredible to look at, if I'm completely honest with you. And yeah, I just love it. And although I'm a neuroscientist by training myself, I still look at this book just to refresh my memory about some different aspects that I don't necessarily work on right now, but it's just great altogether, and I couldn't recommend it enough. 10 out of 10, because the quality, even the paper quality of this is just incredible. I really recommend it. And finally, the 4th book on my list is a history. So The Idea of the Brain by Matthew Cobb. And the reason it's the last on my list is because it's quite a big book, so you will have to invest your time into reading this. It's quite heavy in terms of facts and dates, and because it talks about a history of the brain and how we and the different scientists before us thought about the brain, starting from 17th century France, for example. It has beautiful images in here as well, beautiful diagrams to help you guide, if you're a non-scientist, you know, what are the main structures of the brain, what are the locations of the brain structures deep in the brain that are involved in memory, for example. Matthew Cobb also talks about our consciousness and how we think it's formed and why. And also, it's essentially a guide through history all the way to very modern discoveries, very modern neuroscientists that Matthew Cobb talks about. I don't know, for example, a discovery of fMRI, or how the first fMRI image was made. It's also in this book. And it's just an incredible thing to reflect on how in the past centuries we've come so far in terms of neuroscience, in terms of advancing our field. And yeah, I couldn't recommend this book enough. So if you're really interested in developing your knowledge further, this would be a great overview, not from only a neuroscience point of view, a scientific point of view, but also from a historic point of view. And thank you very much for watching. This is it from me. Let me know if you have your favorite brain books down in the comments below. And I'm looking forward to reading your comments, and please subscribe if you would like to support my channel. I'm really looking forward to making more videos like this. If you have any video ideas that might not be related to books or anything like this, please let me know down below as well. And I look forward to receiving those. See you in the next one.